Right guys, we have a quick update here on the Darren Grimes investigation I covered the other day. That is ridiculous and now being labelled a politically motivated investigation, which, let's be honest, it's likely to be. In my opinion, there is nothing else it could be, since it was never justified and people on both sides have come out to defend Darren Grimes on this one, with even the likes of Ash Sakar and many others defending him, which you won't see very often. But it does go to show just how out of control the whole situation is, and it's not confined to this one incident. Take a look at the different mass gatherings over the months in London and elsewhere. So-called progressive groups had community policing measures used with them, while the others got riot police from the start, as is the norm across the country it seems, depending on which group you support. Now thankfully the outrage over this has spurred a Tory MP to raise this with the Home Affairs Select Committee, which he actually sits on, and plans to grill Met Police Chief Cressida Dick on what the Met Police thinks it's doing in relation to this attack on free speech, which the Telegraph have reported on with the headline, Dame Cressida Dick facing questions over politically motivated investigation into Darren Grimes. Because like I said, the way it looks, it certainly seems like it's politically motivated. What else could it really be? Now we will skip over the bits talking about what I covered the other day, as we don't need to go back over that, and get straight to what Tim Loughton had to say, because he absolutely wrecks the police over this one and many others, including the kill all whiteys bullshit that gets completely ignored by the old bill. It says, now Scotland Yard Commissioner could face questions over the decision to investigate. Tory MP Tim Loughton said he will raise the case with the Home Affairs Select Committee, on which he sits when they meet on Wednesday. So we've only got a couple of days to wait for that. I will actually try and remember it's on and record it. He continues, we are due to have Cressida Dick in due course, and there is another reason to question her, Mr Loughton told the Telegraph. It looks like a deeply political decision, and we need to find out if it went all the way to the top and her fingerprints are on it. He said that the police are shooting the messenger, and if Mr Grimes is guilty of anything, it is being an amateur interviewer who did not pull up David Starkey on his remarks, which I've already covered before. I'm not going to go into going through all that bullshit again. The fact that the other offensive remarks have gone unquestioned by police, such as a comedian encouraged people to kill Whitey on the BBC, shows that this is a double standard. Mr Loughton added, well, you only need to look at the protests over the months, as I said earlier, to see double standards from the police. And let me tell you, it's not just the Met, we had it down in Dover, and you'll see it anywhere else in the coming months, I bet, if the government tries to lock it down. He goes on, that is why it does seem to smack of a degree of political correctness and a singling out of Darren Grimes. Mr Loughton said, this seems to be a completely vexatious investigation, and we need the police to be doing rather more important things. Yeah, like arresting people for not wearing a mask when someone tells them to, or going after them because they said something spicy on Twitter. We know what the police are about in 2020. It goes on, there is no date set for Dame Cressida Dick's appearance before MPs, but Mr Loughton said this was a reason to speed that up. Yes, speed it up, drag her in there tomorrow, let's not wait around. And here we have Sajid Javid, the former Home Secretary, described it as absurd, whilst his replacement, Priti Patel, said that she could not comment on operational matters, but it is important the law protects freedom of speech. Which, let's be honest, pretty piss poor Patel couldn't find her piss flaps for a piss at the moment, so I wouldn't bank on her defending free speech. It has been reported that ministers are becoming increasingly concerned over police activism. I think you'll find a lot of the country are also very concerned. It is understood that Ben Bradley, the Tory MP for Mansfield, will attempt to raise the issue with an urgent question in Parliament, which I've got to say, I'm starting to like this Ben Bradley guy. He does seem to stand up for a lot of decent shit, though he is still a snivelling shitweasel, because at the end of the day he's a politician. He said, I don't know what the Met Police and the wider establishment have against Darren, but a criminal investigation against a broadcaster or commentator for something in an interview he said is absolutely unfathomable in a country that has freedom of speech and freedom of the press. Mr Bradley described the case as utterly mad and said he would be asking the government to fix our dodgy legal system. Well, I wouldn't bank on that, because they're taking the piss out of the legal system at the moment with everything they're doing, and just changing laws as and when they want by decree, thanks to, of course, the traitorous lowlifes in Parliament that haven't made the government accountable for what they're doing. No evidence needed, just pass what you want based on what Matt Headcock says. Now, despite me daily having to attack the Tory party at the moment, I will say well done to the MPs that are actually standing up for this. Who knows how long it is before they come for me and everyone else on the internet who says something against the government or that the police just don't like. I expect the time is coming.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires. And that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.